Yo, what up, YouTube? It's your guy Shaheem, aka Moolah Gang Entertainment, aka Moolah Gang Enlightenment. Well, previous video, I shared with you guys and broke down the podcast starring Tony, and he had two guests, two FBI. One was a former FBI agent, and I do believe, don't quote me on this, but the second one, the female, was a still currently a FBI agent. And that was just weighing in on the case, from the beginning, kind of, through the end. But, I couldn't help but to point out and to acknowledge their observation was kind of the same as ours. That's what I got from the beginning. But then as it started to get towards the end, it started to change. Well, there's not much evidence, and blase, but still to the end, and I have to give them the credit. I have to give Tony credit because until the end, they still said there's that possibility because they already know. You can't rule out this hard tell evidence, man. I mean, Stephen Wonder can see this shit. So, but anyways, this video here, we're going to tap into a podcast with a guy, and he is a body language behavior analyst, and he is going to do the breakdown of the Warren, y'all know Warren, Nolan Wells' so-called best friend. Well, I have a little news for you, Warren, myself, and this is nothing harmful, nothing negative at all. And to anyone else out there who claimed to be Nolan Wells' best friend that was out there on Long Island, what it is, Horn Island, and left him there and claimed to be his friend, knowing that you were leaving him. If this was the case, and I believe, and I know in my heart that that's not the case. It was just the best excuse that y'all come up with at the time. So y'all went for what you could, which what all typical people do when they panic in the heat of a crime. Okay? But you cannot claim to be his best friend. None of you was his best friend. If anybody has the right to claim to be his best friend, that was Jalen. 100% Jalen. Shouts out to Jalen. Take my hats off to you, brother. Respect. He was the only one who stood up and said, "This is not like my Nolan, my friend. This is not like him, and he would not have said leave me out here without my phone, and he would not have said leave me back. He would have left with everybody." It took a lot of ego, a lot of pride to put back to do that because nobody else was, and he had to be the only one to do that. So I take my hats off to him. And Warren. Anyways, also, while he's breaking down this video, I'm going to be breaking it down with him. Okay? I'm going to be pointing out certain discrepancies and things that I see from my point of view. Not pointed out by anybody else. This is just my personal opinion and my personal observation. This is not based on facts, okay? This is just me analyzing and full observation of the interview with Warren and Uncle Officer Brandon Tatum Ruckus, okay? So let's dive into it, ladies and gentlemen. Please understand. Please be respectful. If you have any advice, feedback, not advice, but feedback, or anything after this video, what you think about the analyst, the behavior analyst, the guy that I'm about to present to you, and his opinion on what he observed from the interview. And also, he will be doing a observation over the analysis over the CETO audio. So let's dive into it. Sorry guys, let's get into it. right now. Let's go.
First we laid eyes on Nolan was at like 3 o'clock, and he was, front of the boat with the girl, and
What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Behavioral Arts. My name is Spidey, and I use my degree in sociology and psychology, my certifications in criminal interrogation and body language analysis, and my experience as an award-winning mentalist to teach people behavioral analysis and practical psychology on stages and television shows all over the world. On the 4th of July, 18-year-old
This
Nolan
guy's been out on
missing
Netflix.
during a massive boat party on Horn
TV
Island,
shows.
Mississippi, only to be found dead 2 days later. The internet has erupted over the timeline, demanding to know how a teenager could be left behind without his keys and phone. At the center of this controversy is one of his friends, Warren Hudson, who recently sat down for an interview with Officer Tatum. In this video, we are stripping away the biases that have distorted this story to focus strictly on the nonverbal communication. What do his body language, facial expressions, and word choice reveal? Let's dive right in. Okay, so really quickly, for those of you who don't know, we're about to see an interview with Warren Hudson. And he is one of the friends who was there in the big group who got on 3 separate boats and went to Horn Island to hang out with a whole bunch of
3 separate boats.
When it was time to leave, according to their story, they told Nolan that they're leaving because they had boat issues, but he wanted to stay behind and hang out with a girl by the name of Katie. That is, according to Warren, the last time that he saw Nolan. That same night, the night of the 4th, both Nolan's mom and the Coast Guard were notified that they hadn't heard from Nolan all day and that they were starting to worry. The entirety of the 5th of July, there were several authorities and members of the community who were searching the area for Nolan. Nothing was found. But on the morning of the 6th of July, his body was found in the water near Horn Island. Some interesting elements of the case that we're going to go into with this interview is the fact that he didn't have his phone and his keys with him. His friends had his phone and his keys. Another interesting point is that there was a phone call made to a private marine towing company that night, and the audio was released to the public and media by the Mississippi Department of Marine Resources. And a lot of people took that and enhanced it, and there's been a lot of controversy and discussion about what we're hearing in that audio. So with that said, let's take this interview from the top.
And I want you to walk me through 4th of July this year when the incident happened.
Okay. Being from the Gulf Coast, there's a boating and fishing is very, very popular. The 4th of July, every year, my friends and I, or my family and I, are out on the water. I mean, that's the one day is guaranteed everybody's going out. And that's a known thing. Everybody's trying to get a ride out to Horn Island, or people go to Ship Island, but most of everybody from Ocean Springs and the Gulf Coast go to Horn Island. I mean, this is a common thing. My friends go on the boat when we're home. Very, very common. That's what we like to do. My friends like to fish also, and
Who are you talking about? You, Nolan, and how many people are going to meet you guys there?
we had roughly 20 to 30 people
I do like
coming
how
on 3 separate boats with us.
I just want to say I do get Uncle Officer Brandon Tatum Ruckus the credit for trying to dig a little bit, like asking him to elaborate. You know what I mean? I don't know if this was discussed off camera before the interview, but I do notice that there was like a cut, and he was like, well, who was out there, and like I paid attention to that too, like, you know what I'm saying, because he was just, I don't know. If my best friend was missing, I would have treated this interview like an interrogation. This isn't an interview. This is an interrogation. So please understand, there is a difference. There is a difference. An interrogation, people in an interrogation where you are having a detective, and the detective is going to ask questions. 9 times out of 10, he knows the answer to the questions. He's just wanting to see if you're going to be truthful with him. But in this situation with Warren, he's not in an interrogation. He's not being interrogated, okay? He's not being held without his will. And when they even tell you that in an interrogation room, if you're being questioned, I've seen on shows, they say you can leave free at will whenever you want. We're not holding you by your will. We do appreciate you coming in and answering these questions for us. But so yeah, he's being interviewed right now. So understand that I'm not sure if he understood. I'm not sure if this was a trick to see how truthful Warren would be, because he made the Cito phone call. He was the one that was hollering, "Shut the fuck up," to the people in the background, because they were discussing what was happening during the time that he made that phone call. Which is a whole nother subject. But back to Warren. And then, so yeah, he's not being interrogated, ladies and gentlemen. So, so it's kind of like, I don't know if they were like, they said, cut. Hey, I'm gonna ask you a little bit more detailed question, because, and it was orchestrated, but I did pay attention to that. And, it's just an interview. So why feel the need to have to treat it as if it's an interrogation? It just seems to me as if you're trying to put off to be something that you're not for no reason. When nobody's asked you, it's like people try to be, being everybody but themselves. If you ever known anybody like that in the past, or know anybody like that now, that just say, "Hey man, I do this and I do that," and they really don't, and they're trying to be this, or just this phenomenal person for no reason. Nobody really cares. And it seems like when people do stuff like that in situations like this, it shows to me, and it's never failed me before in the past, that those are signs of guiltiness. That they're showing, because you have no other reason to present these things to me, because I didn't ask you for them. But because of you feel like you had the need or obligation to present them to me without me asking, tells me what my, simple but intellectual mind, that you're trying to sell me something or prove something to me, so I don't think otherwise. All right.
And so we were all following each other out there as one big group. It wasn't just me and Nolan and a couple other of my buddies. There was 20 or 30 people spread out, where we all met at the dock before, and then we departed to go to Horn Island.
On 3 boats?
A couple of us.
That's a lot of people.
Between 3 boats, and we all left.
3 boats.
So that's
30 people?
And there are quite a few challenges with this analysis.
Let's see what he has to say.
Look at the rest of the clips. We'll talk about what they are. But one of them is the fact that Warren Hudson, as a baseline, is not very expressive. In fact, this story broke records for the amount of requests that I got for a topic, and a lot of you noticed that he's not very emotive or expressive. So if we look at him here, he's sitting there. He's neither the epitome of comfort nor discomfort. It's not like he's sitting there, arms out, taking up a lot of space, very comfortable, very chill. He's kind of sitting there, sinking into the couch a little, straight up, but he's not super closed off either. He's not like all turtled up like this or closed in. We kind of see him sitting there, his hands are together a little bit, and he has a very matter-of-fact way of speaking.
Because it's an interview. He's not too uncomfortable. You feel me?
He comes here to the front or a little bit up as he recalls something or visualizes something. Then he comes back and he answers. He occasionally has a bit of a smile, and he sometimes illustrates with his hands.
I don't know. I don't know who tricked him into doing this, or
but he's not overly expressive.
Uncle Officer Ruckus.
We're not seeing big eyebrow movements, which
but that was a bad move. I would not have did that. I wouldn't.
We don't see his emotions on his face too often. He has a very, very steady and calm baseline as he's talking about this entire event.
But that's his best friend.
Makes it challenging. It also does offer a small benefit, and it's the fact that when he does deviate, and we do see a little bit of emotion come through, it really stands out. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, we could say, okay, that must be important because we saw a shift from baseline. Now, although his nonverbal communication doesn't scream volumes, his verbal communication does have a couple of very noticeable patterns.
Yes, it does.
One of them is the fact that he repeats himself a lot. And I don't mean that he rephrases something. He literally repeats the same words a lot, especially when he really wants to make something very clearly understood.
Pause. What did I just say? That's crazy. That's crazy. He just literally, and I haven't seen this video before. This is my first time watching it, so he just literally explained or said what I said in a different way. Basically. Let me back it up.
A lot. And I don't mean that he rephrases something. He literally repeats the same words a lot, especially when he really wants to make something very clearly understood.
There you go. Y'all heard it. Absolutely. What's happening? Sorry about that.
Thing that he does, and we saw it very clearly here, and we're going to see it again, stands out in the entire event. Now, although this makes it challenging, it also does offer a small benefit, and it's the fact that when he does deviate, and we do see a little bit of emotion come through, it really stands out. It doesn't happen a lot, but when it happens, we could say, okay, that must be important because we saw a shift from baseline. Now, although his nonverbal communication doesn't scream volumes, his verbal communication does have a couple of very noticeable patterns. One of them is the fact that he repeats himself a lot. And I don't mean that he rephrases something. He literally repeats the same words a lot, especially when he really wants to make something
I was just speaking on
clearly understood. Another thing that he does, and we saw it's very clearly
his reaction, his response. But he's speaking on other things. That's telltale signs. Deception.
Because he gets ahead of it. Before a question can even come up about that thing, he drops little hints that he's using as his defense to kind of try to disarm that criticism before it comes up. So for example, here, he repeated numerous times and he made sure we understood that there were several boats and there were a lot of them. There was a big group of friends spread on these 3 boats. And
30.
the reason he's doing this is because he knows that in the media, initially, some sources made it seem like it was just a couple of people on a boat going to a private island. So even before he's asked about it, he makes sure to really clarify that there were a lot of people on the boats, and when they got there were even more people. And he says this again and again and again.
Is there anything that you want to say, you want people to know about?
Why would you do that?
This whole experience.
Yeah.
Why are you trying to prove a point?
From someone, if someone.
I'm sorry. And I'm gonna say this real fast. Because I can definitely speak out on actions of a person that's telling the truth and having, telling facts. Okay? And I'm sure that his mother or any parent will vouch with this when I say this. If, say for example, I was the child, and I was in an incident where someone got killed, and I was in an incident or around an incident where someone got killed. Okay? I'm going to be truthful, but when I'm being truthful, I'm not going to worry about what people think about my storyline or my story or description of events that occurred during, before, or after the incident happened where someone got murdered or killed. Okay? And I'm going to tell you why. Number one, I'm not going to be worried about the story that I give and tell anyone because it's facts. Okay? Let's be rational. Okay? Let's put all this, okay, yeah, well, maybe, what if, what if the call she took call was, maybe, what if we're just, our minds just bridging in the gap, what if Nolan really did drown? What if he was really drunk? Let's be rational, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, I don't care what race, color, you are, okay, or gender, let's be rational. Let's think rational and common sense. Basic fundamental common sense. That means let's approach all of this, every last bit of it, from the beginning to the end of the Nolan World case, with an open and common sense. Basic fundamental common sense. I mean, that's just average common sense, okay? This is somebody, hey, I do got common. Okay, let's approach this whole situation with that mind frame or that state of mind. And you tell me, I want you to get out a piece of paper and a pencil or pen, whichever you prefer. And I want you to write a number as in how many, as you count how many discrepancies and red flags down as you count them. And tell me how many did you come up with that you cannot make sense in your mind and does not make sense. And I'm pretty sure if it don't make sense in yours, if you have common sense 9 times out of 10, it's not going to make sense to anyone else who tried to put those pieces together. Okay? And then you got the CETO call that I broke down personally. I'm going to be sharing right after this video, so make sure you be looking forward to that. And ladies and gentlemen, let me explain that I'm doing this because I care. I absolutely 100% care what happens. And sadly and unfortunately, this isn't the only case like this. Yes, you heard that right, Little John. You can say it 100,000,000 more times, Little John. It doesn't matter. My answer isn't going to change. This isn't the only case. And sadly, I think I hope I'm incorrect on this information, because misinformation, disinformation, we're not doing none of that here. We're not going to mislead anyone here with any kind of self-created reactments or details or information. We're not going to do none of that here. That's not what Moolah Gang and entertainment / enlightenment is about. Okay? I do my own research. Because the truth means more to me than any kind of price or value you can put on anything in this world. 100%. Because without truth, you wouldn't have anything. You wouldn't have any of this. None of it would go together. So trust and believe. That's all I'm in it for. 100%. 100%. And I can tell you something else. If it don't make sense, ladies and gentlemen, if it doesn't make sense, stop trying to make it make sense. You can't make something make sense. It just has to make sense. When you try to make something make sense, that's you bridging in the gaps, trying to just throw in there what you want. You just remixing. You just trying something. Trying something. Won't work. Trying shit. Won't work. You can't. Because eventually, irregardless, the truth will inevitably come out. There is no denying that. I'm 100,000% certain of that. So it's like I've been saying since the beginning, and I will continue saying till the end, and forth on, and etc. I mean, and eternity. What's in the darkness will come to light. And I feel like there were so many clues that were purposely left behind, and not just by Nolan or whomever, or by the fight or whatever. I feel like every little piece of this puzzle that we're trying to drastically put together in our minds, because I'm right there with you guys that are covering this case since the beginning and that still are currently, and that will be until the end, trying to bridge, trying to rightfully so and truth and find the truth to put together the case and the mystery of what happened to him. And it's not even a mystery anymore. We know. We know in our hearts and minds that we truly believe that we have everything right here in front of us. It's just, I'm sure y'all are a lot like me, thinking to yourselves, why can't they see this? Huh? Why can't they see this? Why? It's like literally right there, and I just feel like if it would have been any other case, and if the shoes was on the other feet, or the foot, if you will, it would have been handled different since day one. Since, not day one, it would have been handled differently since the beginning. Because when that child didn't come home or went back to wherever he had went that night, you can trust and believe when that call was made to a detective or the sheriff department or whomever, and no matter what state, that they would have, strap up, boys, let's go, ASAP, off your ass and on your feet, out shading in the heat, let's go. So I'm just saying, like I said before, if it's all on the sand, on land, doing this right here, coming out the water, shaking off and quacking, call me what you want. I'ma call it a duck. Let's carry on.
From here, it's kind of hard to understand, where the island drops off and how the island works. But, there's plenty of people out here, especially on the...
And Tatum know damn...
That's where people come out to celebrate.
Uncle Officer Ruckus know damn well.
You can see right here, Brandon, where it drops.
He don't believe that shit. I can see it in his face. I don't know if he was paid or he's trying to get notoriety, standing ovation, a motherfucking hug. I do not know. That still baffles me. Why niggas do that shit that he does. Oh, fucking...
The fact that he gets
we ain't got to deliberate. Face ass.
Really goes into detail about things. So
I'm
Officer
sorry.
Tatum asks a very vague and open-ended question, which is something we often do in interrogations.
Sorry,
he
bro.
gets ahead of criticism when given a chance and really goes into detail about things. So Officer Tatum asks a very vague and open-ended question, which is something we often do in interrogations or interviews to see if given a completely blank
Tatum
slate,
Ruckus.
what is this person's priority? So he says, is there anything about this whole situation that you want to say or that you want people to know? Here's an opportunity. You want to talk about how great a guy Nolan was.
What was the purpose?
Talk about something that you
I'm just curious.
Anything about this whole situation that you want to say?
I do. I'm gonna say it right now. I'm sorry, brother. I'm sorry to keep cutting you off, and I apologize, y'all. But I just have to say this. What I'm curious to know, what was the full potential or intentions on taking Warren back out to the island? Now, I'm sorry, if I'm correct, if you took Warren, if that's where you were standing, if if my recollection is right, I do believe that Uncle Officer Tatum, Ruckus, and Warren was standing on the island just then during that interview, or that second segment of the interview. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong, but either way, what were your intentions? I'm just curious to know, and you can answer me. You can DM me, hit up me in the comments, whatever. I'm just curious to know. Yeah, and I'm sure the world is too. Carry on, brother.
Or that you want people to know. Here's an opportunity. You want to talk about how great a guy Nolan was. You want to talk about something that you've been thinking about that you won't look into, that doesn't really make sense to you. You want to say something that you haven't said before. But he immediately takes this opportunity and his mind instantly goes to
Where it goes?
the depth of the water and how quickly it drops off. This is a huge clue as to where his head's at. Because he's doing something that's a pattern for him. He's getting ahead of the criticism.
No. Or, let me pause this. You look crazy right now. Or, he's getting ahead of the investigation and the interrogation, the real one. He's prepping himself for a real investigation, and when he's being questioned, see, play, ladies and gentlemen, if you will, I have been a true crime fanatic for a while, for a long time now. No cap. Yes. And I have been somehow, while thrilled and into watching why they did it and how they thought they were going to get away with it, and ultimately what end up being the outstanding evidence that put them away. And I have to say, mostly or majority of all of those situations or episodes or I've seen or watched is people putting themselves away, getting a death sentence or life sentence because of little crazy shit that they left behind for the detectives or the police to find and to tie them and link them to the case or that victim. And it's just crazy. It's crazy how people just think that they can just get away with stuff like that, without being prosecuted or without prosecution. It just baffles my mind. But so Warren right now is out with Uncle Officer Tatum Ruckus, and they're on the island. Okay, let me get this correct. They're on the island, and Warren he's asking him about Nolan while he's out there on the island. Now this says two things to me. Two things. Let me make sure I'm correct. He is asking him about Nolan. Did he not say that? He asked him about Nolan. If he did, that tells me two things, and I'm going to share with you.
Is there anything about this whole situation that you want to say or that you want people to know? Here's an opportunity. You want to talk about how great a guy Nolan was. You want to talk about something that you've been thinking about that you won't look into, that doesn't really make sense to you. You want to say something that you haven't said before. But he immediately takes this opportunity and his mind instantly goes to the depth of the water and how quickly it...
Okay. That's what I thought.
Situation that you want to say or that you want people to know.
Okay.
Opportunity. You want to talk
like
about
I said.
How great
all right.
guy...
He had a time, and again, I have to give it to Uncle Officer Tatum Ruckus, BT Ruckus, just that much. I got to give it to you, just that much. BTR. And this is why. Because you did open up. You opened that door up. You opened that door up for him to fall in, or to try to stretch yourself across, or to try to cheat and lie and take a couple of pieces of plywood and from an old broken down porch and bridge his way across. And which way do y'all believe that Warren took when Uncle Officer BTR opened up gave him the red carpet when he said, "This is. Is there anything that you would like to say about the situation? Just anything that you would like to say, a statement that you would like to make." And me in my mind, if my friend was missing and I woke up like he claimed to that next morning and went downstairs while his friend was still getting fucked up or whatever they were doing, watching a movie, as he said they were watching a movie. Watching a movie the day after 4th of July, morning after 4th of July. I'm sorry. But my opinion is they probably was still fucked up. Warren probably woke up, was like, "Oh God, man, I just woke up, man. Remember what the fuck happened? Where the fuck has they found Nolan yet?" No, man. Probably had the attitude of like, "Dude, look like we give a fuck, dude. Dude, we're playing Fortnite right now. Like, what the fuck?" Ladies and gentlemen, I could be wrong. Okay, I am not trying to slander. I'm not slandering. I'm not making false accusations. These are simply my theory and my personal opinion of what possibly happened or somewhat close. And so, and so for Warren's demeanor to just be like, "Yeah, so the water right here, you got to be careful. It's a little high right here." He's just throwing that out there so people could kind of bite on the bait that he's trying to fish with. He's fishing, and he's wanting somebody to bite on the bait, on that little baby ass little wiggle worm that he has. He thinks somebody's gonna bite on that shit because he's saying that the water was too high. And this guy right here, and I take nothing from him, nothing at all. I give him a lot of respect. He's very, very smart, very intellectual, very resourceful guy right here. So I'm not taking anything from him, but that's just something. That's just an observation that he made of his mechanism. Well, I call it a defense mechanism because he's trying to plant an alibi.
You want to talk
Alibi
about
that
you've been thinking about that you want
Nolan Wells
was
drowned.
sense to you. You want to say something that you haven't said before, but he immediately takes this opportunity and his mind instantly goes to the depth of the water and how quickly it drops off.
I wonder why.
This is a huge clue as to where his head's at. Because he's doing something that's a pattern for him. He's getting ahead of the criticism. Because a lot of people online have said it's not really possible for a young athletic guy like Nolan to drown in shallow waters like that. So when given a completely blank slate to talk about anything, he immediately goes to, no, look how quickly it drops off, and then you go a little bit more and it drops off again. Okay, now that we've established a pattern for the way that he communicates, we're going to really get into the details of the story and see how he handles some difficult questions about what happened. But before we do me a huge favor, hit that subscribe button, turn those notifications on, and take a quick second to like this video.
Yeah, really please, y'all, ladies and gentlemen, make sure you hit that subscribe button. If you haven't subscribed, and after the video, make sure you stay tuned or click on and check out our other content that we have. We have other videos that you guys might be interested in. One being of the ancient truth of our ancestors.
Well, Nolan was
a lot of history, a lot of knowledge that's been withheld from us for years, for a lot of years, and our ancestors too as well. So make sure you check out the rest of our content.
Yeah, Katie, and Katie, Nolan was sitting there, and
God bless.
Nolan was.
Let's back it up.
And where's Nolan in this situation?
Well, Nolan was. The last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock, and Nolan was cradling a girl in his arms.
Cradling a girl.
Katie. And Katie.
Well,
Nolan was sitting there.
That's what I thought when he said that.
Was cradling a girl in his arms. Katie. Katie.
Look at Officer Tatum.
Nolan was sitting there and.
Look at. I want y'all to check out Officer don't only check out Warren. Don't be too zoomed in on Warren. And I say this because after I watched this video, like, I think I watched it. I might have watched it once. If I watched it twice. But the first time I watched this video, I backed it up right here because when Warren kept trying to, not only like the profound brother here just discussed, not only is Warren repeating himself all the time, but he's also he's correcting himself a bunch. I've noticed that. He'll start off and he's like, and Nolan, but you know, he was, but I mean, you know, usually when people do that, they're trying to get their story together. He may not be aware of all of the questions that Uncle Officer BT Ruckus is asking. And I could believe that because there is no way in the world on God's beautiful, beautiful earth that he can do this interview and knowingly in his heart that everything is suspicious and suspect about this case and has been since the beginning. And if he can sit up in that chair with that disgusted look on his face, like he got to go poop, he got to go shit right now. But if he can sit up in that chair and look like he's been holding his shit for hours because of this interview and having to go out to that damn island, and know in his heart that, or believe that these boys are telling the entire truth about what happened with Nolan, then he know he lying to his damn self. Check out his demeanor and his behavior, because that tells me also a lot. That tells me by his reactions to his answers if he believes Warren Nolan Will's quote unquote best friends. Let Warren tell it. Quote unquote best friend. Okay, so watch Ruckus. Just watch him now. Look at the look on his face right now. Like he's looking in his eyes because he's wanting to answer. He really do. Now I believe Officer Ruckus when he said that. When he said he want to answer too. He truly does. He can talk all that shit he want to about black people and try to belittle us and our ancestors all he want to. But one thing for sure and two things for damn certain. Nigga, you came from black folk, you black, and you know damn well that shit that coming out of your mouth, nigga, is orchestrated and bullshit, and you don't believe it your damn self. So let's carry on. But watch this nigga too.
Last time I saw him, I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like shaking his head, laughing, and I was like, dude, you crazy.
Cal.
I was like just joking with him.
Cal.
And, but anyway, Nolan,
he don't believe that shit. Look at him.
But when we were leaving, obviously, no one is getting left at the island that came with us, unless.
But he did.
Demanded to, you know, be there.
Oh, hold on. Oh man. Okay. Thank you. I said thank you. It's enough. Damn it! I said I'll play it again. Let's bag that up. Did y'all peep that?
And laughing, and I was like, dude, you crazy.
You crazy, dude. You crazy, dude. Nah, you crazy. Nice to see you, boy.
That was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously, no one is getting left at the island that came with us.
Hey, let me tell y'all something. Y'all pay attention to something. Have y'all noticed that every time before Nolan or after, not Nolan, apologize, Nolan. before or after Warren lies, by my opinion, pay attention. He always says but.
I saw him.
Watch.
I looked at Nolan, and Nolan was like,
Last
hey,
time I
just
seen
laughing,
Nolan.
and I was like, dude, you crazy. I was like just joking with him. And
That's probably was true.
but anyway,
That was probably true.
Nolan. That
But
was
anyways.
I laid eyes on him. But
But
when we were leaving, obviously,
watch him now.
no one is getting left at the island that came with us, unless they demanded to, be there and ask. This is a very common thing at Horn Island. When you're out there, a lot of people ride out there with someone and
Demand?
with somebody else.
Who demands to be left back on an island that the only way you can get off or on or access is by boat or a helicopter, nigga?
All the time. I've done that 100 times.
Wait for it.
It's a very common thing,
But I can't make this up. I can point out discrepancies in people, and it's a pattern. I look for patterns. And he don't always say but. He just says but when he's lying. Watch him now. Pay attention.
Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie
Listen
girl,
now.
and
With that Katie girl,
my
which
buddy
is probably true.
yelled at,
Bart.
yelled for Nolan, get on the boat.
Katie's
We're leaving.
ex-boyfriend.
The boat's having issues.
Keep that in mind.
And no, he didn't say that. But he was panicking.
But
Nolan, get that.
y'all heard that, right? Ladies and gentlemen. Oh, I should have been a detective. But I should have been a detective. All right. Did y'all pay attention to that? I'm going to be real with y'all. This is really my first time actually sitting down and watching the full interview with Warren. I watched it, I want to say a couple of times, but when I started hearing the lies and the discrepancies and just how laid back he was, I was like, yep, that tells me everything I need to know. He's too relaxed.
Get on the boat.
Oh, hold on.
The boat's having issues, and
Hold on, back it up.
my buddy.
This is vital.
Yelled for Nolan.
All right, let me fill y'all in.
A lot of people ride out there with someone and in with somebody else all the time. I've done that 100 times. It's a very common thing,
But
Nolan was sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and
which is probably true. But
my buddy yelled at
Bart,
yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having
Katie's
issues.
ex-boyfriend.
And no, he didn't say that, but he was
But
panicking.
he was
Nolan,
panicking.
get the F on the boat.
Get the fuck on the boat.
And Nolan
Why?
said, no, I'm staying out here.
Why is he cussing?
I'm gonna ride it with somebody else.
Give me my
It's
phone.
not uncommon to hear.
Probably
but
what he said.
it's
But
not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get off.
possibly didn't want him to get Katie's number. Nah, you ain't getting your phone till you get on the boat. Probably an altercation after that. You tell him, man, he's not going to get his phone back. First of all, if your buddy, which you cannot... All right, here's my way in already. And I've already been weighing in. I've already been pointing out signs of the deception and discrepancies in his story since the beginning, okay? Not only the telltale signs and the patterns of the words that he's choosing to use every time he lies that's standing out, but also his buddy that he's referring to, we haven't heard a name yet. And I'm curious to know as to why we have not heard the name of your buddy. And you know what? It's been right there all along. Nobody has put that together. This man is stating Nolan Wells is his best friend. If he hasn't broke down yet, he will. And this is his buddy. And his buddy hollers, Nolan, go on the boat. So you mean to tell me your buddy knows Nolan Wells enough to holler, get the fuck on the boat? Because if somebody yells something, hollers something like that out to me, and I'm, as an example, now, and this is just my theory and take on this. And I'm being real, 100,000% real. It's somebody, a buddy of Warren's that I didn't know or barely know, which he did not state, which is kind of iffy, weird to me. And the fact that he did not state his buddy's name the entire time, and he said his buddy a couple of times. I've heard it 2 or 3 times now already. I could be wrong, possibly 3 times, but you have not stated your buddy's name. And this buddy of yours, so is he a buddy, or is he a best friend, or is he just a friend? I need to know, because obviously there's a distinctive difference amongst the two. Because I've heard him state already that Nolan was his friend or best friend. So now a buddy has come into the picture. So when did this buddy come into the picture? And when did you call your buddy? And why didn't you feel the need to state these vital details of information into this segment of interview? Because rather stating the fact that the water stands up past your chin, nigga, we don't want to know that. We don't care about that. Or stating the fact that he was cradling the girl Katie in his arm, which you didn't know. Y'all claim y'all didn't know the name of before, but now you mysteriously know the name of. Why? Is it because Katie possibly is Bart's ex-girlfriend, and she liked Nolan, was digging Nolan? Bart didn't like that? Got in his feelings?
Nolan, get on the boat. Get on the boat. We're leaving. If you're coming, you gotta come now.
Hold on now. He said get the fuck on the boat, or he didn't say get the fuck on the boat. So I'm finna tell y'all what I believe. And then we're gonna back it up, because I don't want to just be blurting out shit. I'm here for the truth. So I'm not gonna just be blaring out shit that I don't know nothing about. I want to clarify, and I want to verify that's what he said before I continue to analyze or observe.
He didn't say that.
Or scrutinize what he was saying. Okay. Now he didn't say that. Okay. All right. Red flag number what? Shit. I haven't even keeping count. Because you know what? Come on, man. So this buddy is not a best friend. He's just a buddy. We don't know the name of this buddy. Why is he protecting the identity of this buddy during this interview? That right there is the biggest red flag that no one has stood out or pointed out yet. That is a big red flag. And anybody that is in a detective of anybody that has been probably doing detective work for 10 years, the least, knows that there's things that you look for in responses. And most of the, and again, like I said before, this is a interview. It's not an interrogation. But his answers are just like, he's trying to prove something as if it wasn't an interrogation. And I don't know if Uncle Officer BTR knows this, and Warren knew this, or his mother knew this, but this was a very, very poorly and bad decision. I would not have done. I would told. We're not, and especially after they lawyered up after a little after this, and it's like, wow, Like I get it. I kind of see why y'all making this move and why you know I don't. I'm just gonna be real. I don't. But I'm okay. For a second, I was trying to put myself from just observing for many years and from many incidents where criminals uh, take their next step to try to be ahead. And just by his answers, it's like he's just giving the answers, the vital and key answers and detailed answers that will exonerate him later. You know, the order is high. You know, and this and things like that. But it's not that you need to be paying attention to, ladies and gentlemen. What you need to be paying attention is to the small things that he's given. And also with that, along with the small thing that he's given, what he's not given. Oh, these people are smart. Oh, so they think they are. But see, let me tell you something. I deal with some very sadistic. I have. I'm being real. I have dealt with and and I can promise you for only a second or two interacted or had to run across individuals that are sick minded, demented, evil, just and a lot of those people had these type of demeanors and characteristics for no reason. No one did anything to them. Y'all have to understand people in this world are not the way they used to be. And a lot of these people are still the same the way they used to be, even after 100 years has passed by. Because one thing y'all have to understand and comprehend, and the hey, shouts out to the brother Billy Carson, man. Yes, the brother Billy Carson, aka Forbidden Knowledge. Shouts out to him, and I'm sending peace and healing and blessed energy out to the brother Billy Carson because he's been giving us all the knowledge that we have been stripped from or abandoned. That has been abandoned not by us, by the providers of this information and knowledge. We have been denied the facts, the real truth. And before I get too way off, this is another prime example of how people think that they can just do shit and get away with it. That is not cool. Tell the name of your buddy and why he's your buddy, not your other friend or your other best friend or your associate. Why is he your buddy? I know what the meaning of buddy means. So don't try me. Nobody pointed this shit out, but I'm pointing this shit out. Oh hell!
Sitting by the boat with that Katie girl, and
go ahead, but
yelled at yelled for Nolan. Nolan, get on
this,
the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues.
Then he just say, hold on. Then he just say, and then we caught him in this lie. Don't get the fuck on the boat. Are you trying now? Two reasoning ran across my mind when he gave that answer, and that was a part of his answer. And he tried to correct it. Once again, like I said, he's been doing a lot of that too. Like since the beginning, I've been catching on to that. Not just but every time he lies and repeating himself the same over and over again to make it stand out so people can burn it in their brain. But I paid close attention to that as well as the buddy shit. My buddy here, get the fuck on the boat. Now you just said that he yelled out, get the fuck on the boat. You know, and then once you looked at Uncle Officer BTR's facial expression after you said that to receive them, you changed it. You just like a DJ do. You rewind it back. We be clubbing. That's what just happened. Now, your buddy, which is not Nolan Wells' buddy, because Nolan Wells went to school with him, I think, or was in high school. They played on the same football team together. Because if I'm not mistaken, Bart is, and let me tell y'all, is a very mysterious character in this whole situation, because you only seen pictures of him and all of a sudden a lawyer is speaking for Bart. Wow. Isn't that magical? If I believed in magic, but I don't right now. I probably won't. I haven't ever since I was a child. I don't believe in magic. All right. But I do believe in the Most High. Yes, I do. Unmistakably, without a doubt. And I've always known that the creator of all the worlds in the universe was real, and that the creator surrounds us and lives within us to experience this third dimensional form, physical form, that we have such the luxury and beautiful, amazing, blessed experience to share with the creator. So shouts out to the creator, man. All praises be to the Most High right now. Huh? Let me hear it now. Let's go. All right, back to it. Now, like I was saying, that correction, and I like the way, Warren tried to bounce back. That was kind of pimp. He thought he was kind of player with it, Like, yeah, I mean, he did, not like that. But, like, hey, no, you on the boat. That was kind of slick, bro. Come on, bro. Been there, done that, and I have been observing and watching these criminals' behavior for a while now. As anyone that could tell you, I'm pretty smart, intellectual, and amazingly resourceful when it comes to certain things. With this being one of those things. Let's carry on, shall we? Now, what was I pointing out? Okay, now we have yet to hear the name of this buddy. But this buddy told Nolan, yelled out, "Get the fuck on the boat!" I'm sorry. Not get the fuck on the boat, but Nolan, could you get on the boat, please? We're taking in a little water. And Katie's my ex, so I prefer that you not talk to her. I appreciate it, brother. Love. Happy 4th. Well, give me my phone. I'm standing here. Okay. So, let's see if we get a name of this buddy.
Laughing, and I was like,
that was my analysis.
I was like just joking with him. And but anyway, Nolan, that was the last time I laid eyes on him. But when we were leaving, obviously, no one is getting left at the island that came with us.
Obviously, what? Hold on. Another lie. Obviously, no one is getting left on the island that we came on. How could you sit there and fix your mouth, Mr. Warren? And I have nothing but love and respect for everybody. All of God's creation. Capital G-O-D. Yes, sir. 100%. I do. And I always will and I always have. And I love sharing the wonderful, beautiful thing that he does for not only me, but for my family and my close associates. And, my little tight-knit circle. And I pray for anybody. I mean, but I'm saying I pray in general for my family, my closest friends, And I have yet to hear a truthful response or answer come out of his mouth besides clips of some of the sentences, just partial of some of the sentences that are coming out of Warren's mouth. And no disrespect, brother Warren, I'm just, hey, that's my given right opinion that I can share, which is my given right on my platform. Yeah, you are being best friend? Man, capped up, Warren. Sorry, brother. Duck. You know, motherfucker's gonna quack eventually. It's going to, so call it. Carry on.
And, be there.
Uncle.
Ask,
Uncle
this
BT.
is a very common
BTR.
thing at Horn Island. When you're out there,
Mhm.
a lot of people ride out there with someone and in with somebody else all the time. I've done that 100 times.
100
It's a
times?
very common thing. But,
Really?
uh,
So, did y'all pay attention to that? Did y'all see that? I'm gonna ask y'all like them, like them games be, or the little, how them little puzzles be in a little kid session or some of them little newspaper and stuff. Did you see that? Then they'll show you a little clip or something. Did you see that? Pay attention, y'all. See, I be paying attention to body language and movements, facial expressions, all that, etc. 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 While a person is being interviewed, not an interrogation, he's being interviewed. So none of this holds any kind of weight in court. The only purposes that they could use this documented recording or footage interview / segment for is if they ask Warren questions pertaining or Uncle Officer BT are pertaining to this interview. All right, but there we go. Obviously, no one's getting left on that island, but obviously he's lying because obviously someone did. Because obviously the brother Nolan, Xavier Will, is not with us anymore.
Nolan was.
May peace and blessings. Nothing but peace and blessings. And also, Allah, I ask and pray that you protect and shield that family as they go through this moment of grief right now. 1,000%. Alhamdulillah.
Think about the boat with that Katie girl and.
With that Katie girl,
Yelled at
he prefer. I like how he preferred. He preferred. He referred to her as that Katie girl now. That Katie. What? How do you know her name? You know her first name. Strangely, how do you know her first name? You didn't try to find out who this Katie girl was. Why don't you just say Katie? And why do you have to emphasize on the girl part so much? I don't understand. This interview is just terrible. He should not have done this. His mother should advise him not to do this interview.
Yell for Nolan.
They should have just held out, man.
Get on the boat.
They should have held out for the real interrogation because it's coming.
Like, no, he didn't say that. He was.
Bus stop.
Nolan, get the F on the
Hold
boat.
on.
Get on
Hold
the
on.
boat.
There we go. Again, ladies and gentlemen, I don't have my pen and paper out right now, but I can assure you if I had a pen and paper out right now that I would be past 20 right now. Wow. And ladies and gentlemen, let me explain why I'm laughing. I am laughing this situation, the whole ordeal, the whole case is absolutely 100,000% not funny at all. No. That is not what I'm laughing at. What I'm laughing at is how it is year 2026 and people still can do malicious, evil, methodical, planned out, or not, ambushes, attacks, murders, anything like that, period. In the year 2026. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I can't fathom what ticks in these and these people to make them carry out the horrific acts that they eventually end up carrying out. I don't. And I probably never will because that is not my state of mind. That's not my mindset. Isn't, won't be, won't ever will be. So, but, I'll just be a little curious sometimes. I'm just curious, man. It makes me wonder what makes people decide to just, even if it was an accident, and they witnessed it, because obviously from the CETO call, they witnessed and observed something. And out of 300 people being on that island, even if they were leaving, and it was in between the time that they were leaving the island and going back to the dock, still there were people on that boat. Nobody seen nothing. I can't go for that. I'm sorry, man. Right is right. Wrong is wrong. And I stand on right. Let's be realistic. Let's put all the bullshit to the side. All the colors, the race, the everything. Let's put all that shit to the side. And let's be rational right now. Okay? Let's just be rational. Let's take the color out of it. All right? Let's take the judges out of it. Let's take the money out of it. Period. And you tell me this. If that incident, that horrific incident, and once again I'm sending peace and blessing, healing energy to Miss Christine. Now back to what I was saying, the whole family as a whole. But if I or whomever, let's just take the term color out of it, race out of it. And so we're there, and that incident happened, and there's no color. Let's take the color out of it, okay? And please, in the comments, please, I am begging you, please, I'm asking you, but I'm asking you with an open heart and mind, in all eyes. Your opinion, your 100% personal opinion of how do you think that whole incident would have carried out, excluded with the exception of race or color. Doesn't matter how you envision it or how you want to envision it. You can think they're all blind, just giving you an example. So if, there was a movie like that one time. I think everybody was like blind, and then people just had to. But anyways, how would you feel, or what's your personal opinion of how you think this would have at all ended or would have carried out? And I would love to know. I appreciate you, and please hit that subscribe button after this video if you haven't already. We're going to get to the bottom of it. Walk them down, Dano.
I'm going to ride it with somebody else. And it's not
walk them down, Dano. Walk them down.
Not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat.
Oh.
Get on the boat. We're leaving.
Hold up, what?
If you're coming, you got to come now.
Oh.
And
but hold on.
It's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times.
Hold up. Wait a minute. Let me put some moonlight in it. Yeah. Alright. I do apologize about that, but I ain't want to let it get a second further without me being able to tap in and weigh in on the answers from Mr. Warren. And as he believed, and this is just, this is just my personal opinion, Mr. Warren. And this is just filling people in who's just now probably tapping into the video or, want to get caught up a little bit. So this here, guys, is an actual podcast and video by this very well known from Netflix, TV shows, and a couple of other things as a behavioral language analyst who analyze and observe people's behavior and what stands out to him as to show if a person is guilty or not guilty. Excuse me. Now, I'm curious to know, and I didn't hear him pointing a couple things out that I did that stood out very, very strongly to me, and I'm going to speak on it. One of those things being this: why is he? And ladies and gentlemen, please understand that I am not a compensated detective or officer. Neither have I used to be or a detective or a paid officer at all. Okay? So let's make that very clear. No, I don't work for any kind of CIA or anything like that. Neither as well. So, now that we have that clear, we should carry on. Now, as I was saying, why did he feel the need to point out that it's like, it ain't like my buddy didn't tell him. My buddy kept saying, like, Nolan, get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. Okay, so hold on. So, Warren, what are you saying, Warren? So now you're saying that your buddy, did he say my friend? I'm not sure if he said my friend or not, but we're going to find out. Because like I said, we're here to get to the bottom of it, and we're here to get to the truth. TRU, baby. Remember See Murder? TRU.
The boat's having issues.
Okay, hold on. Oh, here we go. All right, so I pay attention. I don't know what he said. I don't know if he said, but my buddy, did he go back to that my buddy thing as referring to his buddy Bart, which we still haven't heard a name for, which I find that very, very interesting. I don't see why nobody else pointed that out, or nobody else finds that interesting. Why are you concealing your buddy's name? Is there a reason why you're concealing your buddy's name? So let's start with that first. That being another red flag out of 100. Let's carry on and see if he has a better explanation of why his buddy was getting mad because Nolan wanted to be left behind or he wanted to get on the boat. Because that's what I'm feeling. I'm feeling like when he was asking him to get on the boat, there was already a little tense of jealousy, a little tense of pride and ego already mounted in place because, and this is, he say, she say, but a lot of motherfucking he's and she's are saying that Bart and KT, quote and unquote, are ex-partners. Yes, they used to date in the past. Not currently, and not recently, but in the past. So what's that say? Was Nolan aware of this? I can't even say he did. I can't say he didn't. And that's just being rational. That's me stating the obvious. Because I would be a lie to sit here and say he did or didn't. Because I don't know. I have no recollection or knowledge recollection, but knowledge of what information that rest in heaven, brother. The brother Nolan Xavier Wills felt at that time and moment. And, I can't speak for him. But what I can say is, why was it so vital or so detrimental that Nolan Wills got on the boat at the moment that your buddy Bart was asking him or cussing at him and trying to demand him to do? Why? I'm like, well, why?
At Horn Island.
There's a reason why, ladies and gentlemen. Think about it.
There was someone and
come on, man.
Else
y'all got good sense. Y'all got a heap of damn sense.
It's a very common thing, but Nolan was sitting by the boat with that
sitting by the boat.
And
now he's sitting by the boat with the Katie girl.
Yelled at,
he was on the boat.
Nolan,
hold on.
Get on the boat.
Did y'all didn't peep that? How you sitting by the boat? You ain't sitting by no boat. You either floating or you swimming. So Nolan was either sitting on that boat with Katie and talking to her when that incident occurred, or Nolan and Katie were sitting on somebody else's boat, which is one out of, I'm guessing, just off the information that's provided out here for us, that Nolan, maybe he meant that Nolan and Katie were sitting on one of those out of the 3 vessels that came together with the 30 friends. Who knows? I don't know. He didn't specify, and he didn't give any more details other than that. But we do know, Mr. Warren, we got you, brother. Yes, boy, you lit up like a Christmas tree on the 4th of July with fireworks shooting off around you, my brother. I don't know why you did this interview. Whew, Lord have mercy. Boy, if this was an interrogation, boy, they would have a field day with you. So, one of the 2 things, it goes back to the one of 2 things. So, one of the 2 things happened. So, either Nolan and Katie, because he mentioned Katie in the description as being one of the individuals sitting with him while he was sitting in the water by the boat. He was sitting in the water by the boat. It makes no sense at all. And you know what? Actually, I don't see no one reaching for that term of knowledge of words in that way. I don't see nobody using sitting in the water by the boat as a terminology of his actions, or expressing the terminology of Nolan Wells and Katie's action at that time and moment as he described. That's crazy. So either him and Katie was sitting on that boat when that incident occurred, and they ended up in the water, because that's what it sounds like to me. With this red discoloration in the back of his head, it sounded like that he was choked because he was already sitting down, which is a good advantage point to attack someone while they're sitting down. That actually happened to me one time, and he actually got the ups on me for a second till I got back up. Then, yeah, it was a mistake. So, again, whichever do you mean, Mr. Warren? Was he sitting in the water, him and Katie? Or was he sitting, him and Katie, on the boat when Bart, my personal opinion, quote unquote, attacked and choked him out? And if that's the case, with that being said, Mr. Warren, there were a lot of witnesses, because I can play the video where everyone had their cell phone out, that whomever took that video that y'all probably didn't want to leak out, cast it across. And while he panned across them, you can see people.
We're leaving.
With their phone.
The boat's having issues, and
check him out.
No, he didn't say that. But he was panicking. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Get on the boat. And
no, he's
staying out here.
Check out how he checked himself now. Check himself out. I mean, and I don't. You know what? And a big part of me is scratching at my intuition and my third eye. Yes, my real brain. And it is scratching and pulling and telling me that Uncle Officer BTR is winking or is keeping him on track. Some sort, some way, form, or fashion. And that's not based on facts. I'm not saying that's facts. But with my experience and my skills and acknowledgement of these type of situations and how it works and how people are being coached to say certain things to fit certain timelines and to add up to make it make sense in somebody's head or in hopes that somebody will either forget or believe it. I see a lot of similar familiar reactions, responses, body movement. Yeah, and not well. Let me explain. Let me elaborate. It's not just what someone says, ladies and gentlemen, but pay very close attention to how they say it in the way, I'm meaning in terminology, in the way they're using it, because that speaks volumes. If you listen close enough, that speaks volumes. I can't make this up. Let's carry on. There's deception just pouring out of his ears and down his eyes, down his nose, like a nosebleed, but worse. You know what I mean? Like it's terrible.
Having issues.
It's just terrible.
And no, he didn't say that. He was panicking.
He didn't say that, but
get the F on the boat. Get on the boat.
So get the fuck on the boat. What do you mean?
Out here. I'm gonna ride in with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear, but it's not like my buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. Get on the boat.
But why? He's grown, right? He demanded it, right? So why is this your buddy, your friend, still haven't heard a name of this buddy and friend yet, is demanding more than 3 times for Nolan to get on the boat? Why is it so fucking important? So fucking majorly important that Nolan gets on that boat because your buddy said so. That's what we need to draw the square around in this interview right here, which he failed the interview. Lord knows he's not going to pass a real interrogation. Y'all better lower you up. I'm telling y'all, boy, it's not looking good for y'all boys. I'm just going to keep it all the way up with you, boy. Bye. So you say you left the store around 11:30. So you know you done fucked up, right? Oh yeah, you done fucked up. You done fucked up. But it's cool. You done fucked up. So you say you got to the store about 10:30? It was. Carry on, brother. I'm sorry.
You gotta come down. And Nolan made a decision to stay out on the island.
Are you coming? You gotta come down. Okay. First of all, I'm sorry, y'all. Probably gonna do this for, I don't know why, but the brother here ain't been. Objection, Your Honor. Objection. That's sad. That's right. Objection. Okay. I ain't going for it. I said, well, I need a hammer for this shit. This shit done got crazy. I need a grapple. What they call that? Grapple. But I got one. Don't play with me, boy. Anyways, I can't waste the time. Back to what I was saying. Warren. You're not even throwing yourself a fucking floaty, buddy. I mean, I know you didn't strap no life jackets on your vessel, as you should have. Not only that, you're running on fumes. You're about to give out of gas. Warren. And with all that being said, Warren, you didn't even pack yourself a life jacket. You're gonna go straight down. Straight down, I tell ya. See, I'm gonna point out all these things. See, first of all, why is it so important that Nolan got on that boat just because Bart said so? Somebody has to explain that shit to me, cause that shit right there, nigga. Nolan, get your ass on the boat. He wanted to say, no.
He didn't say that he was panicking.
Again, but you got the but, and then on top of that, he's correcting himself and basically repeating what he just said, because I could have sworn he had just said that, but obviously we had passed that. So, this is terrible. Yeah, I really haven't sat down and watched this interview, which is crazy because I didn't have to. I sense deception and discrepancies, whatever. Without even watching this video, or interview. But he notices when he lies, he corrects himself, and then it's like Uncle Officer BTR is like, got this little shit ass smirk on his face, like, keep it together, you're doing good. And if you pay attention to Warren's eyes, he's really focused in on Uncle Officer's facial expressions. It's like he's looking for something to give him that notion that he's good.
Nolan, get the F on the boat.
But he's doing terrible.
I'm gonna ride it with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear, but it's not like
Really?
My buddy asked him one time. My buddy asked Nolan multiple times to get on the boat.
So
Get on the boat.
So I take it they got a fucking extra jet ski or boat or pontoon boat buried under the fucking one of the sand pits that's strangely and mysteriously out there in the middle of that dead center of that island, underneath the sand and roots and a few greenery that's there. Come on, dude. It's a known thing. I gotta play that back. I've never.
100 times.
Oh, what you done?
It's a very common thing, but
common thing for people to be asked left out there on the island. That's crazy.
With that Cade girl, and
I hardly ever believe that.
my buddy yelled at him, yelled for Nolan, get on the boat. We're leaving. The boat's having issues, and he didn't say that, but he was panicking.
But
Get the F on the boat. Get on the boat.
there you go again.
Stay out here. I'm gonna ride it with somebody else.
So he stood on him, his buddy.
My buddy asked him one time.
Buddy.
Asked Nolan multiple
Buddy.
times to get on the boat. Nolan, get on the boat. Get on the boat. We're leaving. If you're coming, you gotta come now.
So Uncle Officer BTR, why didn't you ask him who his buddy was and why he kept referring to him as buddy? Because if his buddy is innocent and did nothing wrong, then his buddy has nothing to worry about. Nobody bashing his name, or because we already know who the nigga is. Yeah, we know who the nigga is. So he ain't mysterious as y'all think he is. Or he think he is. And we on your ass like back pockets. That ain't no threats. No promises at all. I don't do none of that. I'm just providing the people with the information and research that I took the time out to do to provide to them. And I'm not saying that any of this is based on facts. And as y'all do know, because I have provided y'all and informed you with that information and that clarification that this is not facts. And these are not based on facts, but based on the documented and actual events that occurred that day of the 4th of July. And I bet you didn't know that time this 4th of July is a ceremony of a Montgomery, Mississippi KKK reunion. So if I'm not mistaken, it's a lynching ceremony for the organized group, the KKK, Ku Klux Klan. For those of you who are not aware or knows any of any kind of organized gang or crime groups, with the KKK being one of those. Now, I'm not speaking bad, and I'm not implicating them into anything. I'm just saying that these are known acts and actions of the characters of these groups, okay? So keep that in mind too as well. But it's crazy how they refer to his buddy, and all you hear is buddy, buddy. But you hear my friend every spicitude. Like he's dropping a little spicitude, my friend, in there too. But you know what? As the brother Dr. Umar say, and big shouts out to the brother Dr. Umar. I watched that whole interview early that morning when it was posted, and I left my house on my way to work, on my way to Maryland, finishing that interview. And I have a lot of respect for the brother Dr. Umar, because look, that nigga didn't hold back. Nathan ain't going for it. Period. Period. Okay? When I say that, I mean that. The brother stood on business, but he gave credit where credit was due. A humble brother like the brother Dr. Umar, brother, may peace and blessings and healing energy be upon you, brother. Nothing but those three things. And I pray to the Most High. All praises be to the Most High. Alhamdulillah. Mashallah, tabarakallah. Allahu Akbar. But yeah, the brother, like he pointed out, okay? He pointed out a lot of key things that people just weren't asking. And I felt this very same way. People weren't asking the right questions. And why? Why weren't they? Why weren't they asking the right questions? Because it seemed as if it was the situation in the time of the moment that a lot of individuals should have been. And not just for the family of Nolan Wells' sake, or Tashia or Tasha Campbell, I think, if I'm not correct, that was hanging in a tree. They found hanging in a tree in some kind of remote area. And nobody seen nothing. Astaghfirullah. They had to get a ladder to get this blessed, beautiful black queen out of a tree. And nobody knows nothing. Nobody knows nothing. It's year 2026. Ain't nobody seen and know or have footage of nothing. It's crazy. And it's going to take a minute to understand that. But even though I know it, there is a possibility. But again, it goes back to a little bit of planning. It's just a little bit of methodical planning there. But it's crazy how he tried to correct himself. I just find that very, very suspect. And I think it'd be safe and okay to say that Uncle Officer BTR is helping him, coaching him along the way.
Nolan made a decision to stay out on the island. And like he said,
boy, stop.
How many people heard
Absolutely not. None.
At least 5.
Because it wasn't said.
Everyone that was on
Hold on.
the boat right there, because the Palm Beach had already left. My buddy went ahead and went home on the Palm Beach, and 3 guys on the way back And Nolan wasn't the only person
You
to
say my
write
buddy again. I just keep hearing buddy and buddy at the time. I promise y'all, we're gonna
because
get
the
through this
Palm Beach had
video
already left. My buddy
together.
went home on the Palm Beach, and three guys all the way back. And Nolan wasn't the only person to ride out there with us and in with somebody else. I mean,
We're aware of that.
people in our group that rode out with us and rode in on someone else's boat.
All right, so this is a good segment with behaviors and some details that's giving us some clues. So
I gave y'all my observation. We're gonna let y'all. We're gonna let him, this brother here, give y'all his observation.
Come back in another boat. He said in the beginning and then right at the end, he said it again the exact same way, offering no new information. So this is really important to him. And again, that repetition is addressing the criticism. Because a lot of criticism is focused on how can you go to this island with a friend and then come back without that friend, and everyone's not accounted for.
Damn right.
So this whole segment basically is to answer that question, and it's very important for him to know that it's not unusual to go in with one group and come back with another. There are 3 separate moments in this one clip where he says something and then immediately either takes it back and changes it or adds something to it. And 2 of those 3 times, we see in his body language that he realized, wait, no, that's not really true. He either adds something to it or takes it back. And the third one, I can't really see because the camera is on Officer Tatum. The first one is the one that we don't see him because the camera is not on him. And it's right in the beginning when he's asked, okay, you're ready to leave. Where's Nolan? He says, Nolan was, pause.
And then he said, but
the last time I saw Nolan was at 3 o'clock.
The last time I saw Nolan was 3 o'clock.
But
now this could very well be because
he didn't let it play long enough. But he said, but
advised him to only
because you know he about to lie.
Talk about things that he knows. But that little pause and correction for me would be a point where I would invite a little bit of speculation here. I would personally take a second and go, okay, so you saw him at 3, you didn't leave till 4. Where do you think he was in that time? Have you talked to some friends? You know, as you thought about this, as you tried to put it together, have you been able to piece together where he was in that time? And how do you know these things? I just want to know how much he's looked into this. What does he know? Does he have any information? Did he talk to someone who said, no, we saw him in such and such place between those 2 times? This correction is important to him. Therefore, it's important to me as well. And it might be nothing, but I would just want a little bit more details there. There's another thing here that is so confusing to me. And I wish I could just jump into my computer and be like, Warren, I just have one quick question. He says that the last time he saw Nolan, the last time he laid eyes on Nolan was at 3 o'clock.
Cap.
But then he talks about when they were getting ready to go, and how his friend was saying, Nolan, let's go, let's get the heck out of here. And Nolan was sitting there with his friend. Now that would make sense if they were leaving at 3 o'clock. But we know that the call...
Hold on. Are we talking about the same friend that he still hasn't felt the need to mention a name of? Not even a nickname. I mean, damn. Give us a nickname. Nigga, we'll be... Give us a name. Rabbit. Oh, hell. G-Balls. Hell, who cares? Anything. Shit. My buddy. This my buddy shit. And then my friend in there every couple of times. I'm beginning to think that this mysterious, my friend, buddy, this mysterious buddy is more than just a buddy.
So the towing company was at 4 o'clock and they actually left at 4:30. That's not through their testimony, that's verified. So what's going on here? The only way I can make sense of this is that as of 3 o'clock, they were trying to leave. And it took like an hour and a half. They were having boat problems trying to get out of there. But as of 3 o'clock, they were saying, we got to get out of here. Nolan, get on the boat.
Well, I was paying.
But I have a lot of questions about that. For that hour and a half, where was Nolan? Did he stay there with the girl the whole time?
Hour and a half?
Did he come up and try to help? Was there a conversation?
Boy, that's time for
some
malicious, evil acts.
Telling Nolan to get on the boat. And this was a really interesting moment because he's very actively remembering that conversation because he starts doing the voice. He's like, Nolan, get on the boat. Nolan, get the F on the boat. Like he does the guy's
go on the boat.
He's imitating what he would.
But why? Why so aggressive?
So he's stepping into that and he says,
nobody asked
get
that.
on the boat. The boat is
nobody asked
issues.
him questions.
Then he pauses and we kind of
okay, but he told you he was staying. So why is he still asking him? You understand what I'm saying though? Nobody questioned that.
He didn't say that.
Right.
He said, Nolan,
there's a reason for Bart to be so aggressive. So, okay, I told you I was staying. Give me my phone. Oh, you didn't say that now. Come on, man. Stop playing.
This is an important moment. This isn't somebody who speaks very loud with his nonverbal communication, but here we see him say something, and he kind of moves in, and we see the body language come to life as he takes it back and changes what he said. And I want to know why. I don't have answers, but I do have questions.
Damn right, me too, bro.
He kept in his mind, you have to say only the facts, and the guy didn't say this, so make sure to correct that. Is it because he doesn't want a conflicting narrative with something he would have said elsewhere or somebody else would have said? So he wants to make sure and say, no, wait, he didn't say that. He only said this. I don't know, but I would have questions as to why this correction happened. And then the last correction is when Nolan says, no, you guys go ahead. I will ride with somebody else. And look what happens. There's a pause and his eyes widen like this for a quick second. And this is very,
telling a lie, look.
With moments of realization.
He wanted to cry.
Something or something surprises us, the eyes open up. In fact, universally, in moments of surprise, those eyes.
Check him out. Warren hustling like he was trying to hold back to you. Well, that shit can't sit on nobody's heart, man. Niggas ain't built like that.
The last correction is when Nolan says,
kill a person and cover them up. Niggas ain't really built like that for real, for real. And that shit hit different, boy.
Very, very commonly seen.
Should be on your top. Stay on your top.
Surprises us, the eyes open up. In fact, universally, in moments of surprise, those eyes open up. Regardless of what part of the world you're from, which culture you grew up in, surprise is one of the universal emotions, which the research has shown looks the same everywhere in the world. And eyes widening like this, very consistent with surprise or realizing something. So he says, ride with somebody else. We see this moment where the eyes open, which is not common for him. And he goes, it's not uncommon to hear. So he adds that. This isn't a correction, but he adds that.
I'm going to ride it with somebody else. And it's not uncommon to hear.
Even if he said it before, even if he's going to say it again.
I've done it hundreds of times.
It's not uncommon for people there to say, no, it's fine. I'll just catch a ride with somebody else. My interpretation on this one is a little bit more certain. And it's the fact that when he said that, he realized that it's a bad look and maybe even remembered all the comments he got online of, why would you leave him there? Why would you go without him? I think that's what happened. I think that's what that eye-opening was. And he goes, oh, wait, it's not uncommon. This happens a lot. This segment also contains the most important part of Warren's story. And Officer Tatum knows that because as Warren is telling this story, and he says that there was this interaction, get on the boat, and Nolan's like, no, I'm going to stay here. Officer Tatum asks, how many people were around to hear that? Because he knows how important that is to this investigation. If there were enough people who were there and saw Nolan hang back as the boat that Warren was on left, and investigators go talk to those people, and those people corroborate, yeah, Nolan stayed behind, Warren is off the hook. It's as simple as that. This is such an important element of investigations or interrogations. You follow the story. You follow the timeline. So you talk to this person. If this person saw the victim after with this person, you go talk to this person. If this person saw them with a group of other people, you go talk to those people. So in this case, when Warren is saying he was with Katie and there was all these other people around, you go talk to those people. Now that seems to be happening to a certain extent. Online sources are saying that Katie has been in touch with the mom. She's been cooperating with the investigation. And there are some sources that are saying that her sister claimed that Katie was not with Nolan when that boat left. Now, most of these sources are unverified. I can't find an actual interview or an actual source where she said that. If you guys have one, please drop it in the comments below. I would love to see that because this right now is the most important part of this whole investigation. Literally ignore everything else. It's all just noise. Where was Nolan the moment that boat left? Talk to Warren, talk to Katie. Do they disagree? If they disagree, that's huge. If he's saying that Nolan was with Katie when the boat left, and then Katie, not her sister, not someone who heard from someone who heard from his sister, Katie herself says that Nolan was not with her when that boat left, you have to figure that out. It's huge. You have to talk to other people, try to see who's telling the truth. Was he with him? Was he with her? Or was he somewhere else? But if she agrees, if she says, yes, he was with me when that boat left, that's it. Let Warren go. Keep your phone on. Don't leave the country, but you're free to go for now. Talk to Katie. Figure out what happened next.
How long was it before you realized, or you guys realized it?
I mean, yeah, but
I went back downstairs.
I think
all my friends were just hanging out, and
I personally believe. Oh, this is gonna get good. This is the part that I do remember about this interview with Warren and Uncle Officer. BTR. I figured y'all like that one. That's the best one I can come up with. But anyways, yeah, this part of the interview is like damning. The way he like look at the expression on his face right now. He's like, damn, I got to fucking tell this part. This is the most. This has to be the most shittiest, damaged part of the interview that he had to do, and he's feeling it right now. Look at his face. He felt something for he felt something for Nolan, and you can tell there was something for him. But I feel like there's a separate individual entity that's on his ass, and in response, with being said so, he can only give so much information because once shit starts, once you start like with a lie, and I'm not saying that he's lying, and I'm not making any kind of accusations on his behalf, but what I'm simply saying is, potentially, if he was active or around when this occurred, he's just as guilty, and he knows this. He has to know this. His mother's a judge, you know. So if this is the case, is a cover up, and a lot of this shit are distractions. And I say if because that is not based on facts. This is my assumption, and this is my theory, my personal opinion, my beliefs. And I said if that was the case, he can't say nothing. He can only say so much. So it's like, you're limited. Your information that you have to provide is limited, but still, it has to make sense to some extent, to where people can be like, well, but it's not even reaching that meter with me. It's not even reaching it's possible. It's reaching that. Oh man, come on, hell no, something ain't right. Meter, and it's been hitting that meter on the high side of that meter since the beginning. So let's dive into this part of the interview. This is about to get interesting.
My buddy Wyatt had addressed,
Oh, ladies and gentlemen, there you have it. Did he just state one of his buddies' name? Oh, he mentioned his buddy Wyatt's name. But he don't mention Bart's name. He's just my buddy. But I told my buddy Wyatt's name. I can give you Wyatt's name. They won't incriminate him. Bart don't want his name mentioned. Bart's the one that got the foot on y'all neck. I got it now. I got you, boy. I told you, boy. I'm on y'all head, boy. Boy, I'm on y'all ass, boy, like back pocket, boy, Paul. Cause I ain't on no gay shit. But I can promise you, boy, I'm on it, boy. Nobody pointed that out. Nobody but me. Nobody pointed out the fact that this man has, ever since my buddy's coming to the picture, my buddy that has not and yet still have a name linked to besides Wyatt, because he was talking and referring to Wyatt when he said my buddy, because he said his name right after he said my buddy, which means that he was only referring to Wyatt at that moment in time in his response and answer. But before then, when he was talking about my buddy told Nolan to get the fuck on the boat, and he told him more than 3 times, Nolan get the fuck on the boat. Well, he didn't say it like that, and he said he corrected himself twice, but he still repeated the same thing. I paid very close attention to that because I was like, didn't he just say that? But no, he didn't. He said it a little lighter. Well, my buddy told me, hey, Nolan, get on the boat. Well, he didn't say it like that. But it's like, hey, man, get on the boat because that's the same thing. You didn't correct what he said. He didn't say nothing differently other than what you said right the first time. Nolan, get the fuck on the boat. That's what he said. That's what he said. And this, my buddy, you haven't mentioned a name for yet, Warren. Why is that? Why is that, Warren Hudson? Why is that? Could it possibly be because Bart did not like Nolan? Could it possibly be because Bart is the one, your buddy, is the one that used to date Katie, and he is her ex-boyfriend, and Bart is the one that hollered at the end of that Ceto call? I told him to bring his ass. Is that your buddy, Bart? I mean, Warren? Is that your buddy? Wow. Please help me make sense.
Talking about Nolan, and I was like, well, where is he?
Hold on. No. So he had just, look at, pay attention. He don't want to talk about this. Look at him.
I went back downstairs and all
Look,
my friends
he's sunk in the couch then. He didn't want to talk about
my buddy
that.
Wyatt had addressed,
My buddy Wyatt. Y'all notice that?
talking about Nolan.
Look at Uncle Officer BTR. I believe he even peeped that. He even acknowledged that when he mentioned and was referring to Bart, when he said my buddy numerous of times, and a couple of times, if I'm not mistaken, I know for once, at least one time he said my friend, yelled at Nolan. He said yelled at Nolan to get the fuck on the boat. That's what he said, his own words. Okay, I'm not adding or subtracting anything from his response, his statement. That's what he said. But he still never and still haven't or hasn't referred to him as his name. But Wyatt, he'd tell Wyatt's name, and that's his buddy too now. Look at Officer Tatum's face. Look at Officer Tatum Record's face. He peeped that. He realized that.
Have y'all heard from him? And he was like, no, we haven't. And I was like, okay, well.
Pathetic.
It's a little concerning.
He want to see the truth in him so bad. He's
I'm trying
digging for something that ain't there.
So I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, and also a couple other buddies that I had at the island. I was like, hey, have y'all seen Nolan? Did he ride in with y'all? And all of us were like, no. Well, I texted Javon, and I was like, hey, can you send me Miss Christine's number? Because I haven't heard from Nolan, and if she hasn't heard from Nolan, then I'm calling the Coast Guard. I asked her if she had heard from Nolan. She said no. And I said, all right, well, don't freak out. I'm going to call the Coast Guard. And this was at about 11 o'clock.
So what's your intent in calling the Coast Guard, right? Because right now, Nolan could be with a chick. He could be with somebody else.
Right.
He could have gone back with somebody else. What made you concerned enough that you felt like you couldn't wait it out anymore? You had to call the Coast Guard.
Well, I mean, like I said, my friends and I have been on the water our whole life. Stuff happens. People die all the time. I know people that have died out there. And, it's a fun place to be, but it's also a very, very dangerous place to be if you're not handling it right. And Nolan, so I hadn't heard from him, and obviously I'm thinking I would way rather be safe than sorry. I mean, I would rather call the Coast Guard 100 times and lose my mind over it, my buddy be okay, than not, and me not know where he is and him not be okay. And
this segment was a big one for me, both behaviorally and in terms of context. There's an inherent contradiction here.
I'm gonna let him go first this
I can
time.
point out to you, and I think most of you will agree. If I ask you right now, according to Warren, is leaving someone at Horn Island and taking off dangerous or not dangerous? There's no real answer to that question. Because elements of what he said suggest yes, and elements of what he said suggest no. For one thing, he casually drops in there that, it's dangerous. I know people who have died there. I'd like a little more elaboration on that. Do you personally know people, or you've heard of people who have died there?
Or simply, why was that your choice of answer? Why did you choose that as your answer to that question? You know, like it's why did you? Why are you? Let's say how you say, why are you going out on the thin ice to say that? Like, there's a reason behind it. What is your intentions? What is your intent with that statement? That's what I took from that. It's like again, like I said, he's trying to build that foundation of innocence, that foundation of Nolan Wells drowned, accidentally drowned,
because he just casually drops that in there. But if that's happened, and
casually,
those
huh?
people have died there, it's a dangerous place.
Intentionally.
Also, according to his own testimony here,
I'll
that
be
same
back.
night, a couple hours later, when he hadn't heard from Nolan, he called his mom and he called the Coast Guard. That's a big move. But on the other hand, if it is serious enough to where you know people who have died there, and you're calling the Coast Guard after a few hours of not knowing where Nolan is, and your mind is going straight to, okay, we gotta call the Coast Guard, then why would you leave a friend there and come back with his phone? I know he's saying that was a common thing, but it almost seems like at the very least there wasn't this massive concern for his well-being. They were like, all right, cool, you could stay here, we're gonna go. And now all of a sudden we're calling the Coast Guard. Now let's dial things back a little bit because I know how the internet gets. None of what I just said means that I believe that this guy's this psychopathic murderer. That is a massive jump to take based on a couple of little discrepancies and curiosity. It's normal to talk about these things, try to figure it out, apply critical thinking, but nowadays it seems like people take small clues, wedge it into their conclusions, and jump to the worst case scenarios, and I am completely against that. Okay, back to the interview, Officer Tatum notices the exact same thing that I just pointed out. Because Warren's been casual about this island. We all go out there, sometimes we come back on different boats, it's not unusual, but all of a sudden you haven't heard back from this guy in a couple of hours. Why would you call the Coast Guard? There's a discrepancy there, and Officer Tatum noticed it, so he asks, why would you be worried at this point enough to call the Coast Guard? His phone isn't on him. You guys have it. So it's reasonable. He's out there hanging out. There's a girl that he's interested in. There's some other people. Why would you panic? If it's normal for people to go out there and come back with someone else, why would you call the Coast Guard? Something doesn't add up. And in response to this question, we see a small behavioral cluster of stress from Warren. It's not huge. It's not the biggest one we've ever seen on the channel by far, but it's enough, especially for a guy who is usually pretty calm, pretty stoic, and emotional. So the first thing we see is a lip lick. He licks his lips as he's about to answer that question. This is not part of his baseline.
Don't forget
now,
the butt.
Is sometimes just a lip lick.
Every time you lie.
Even if it's not part of our baseline. This is why we want clusters. We want to see numerous things at the same time. Because the lip lick also, the research has shown, is very connected to stress. Because when we're stressed, the lips dry out and we lick them. It's also very consistent with grooming. These are gestures that we do to fix our appearance when we're self-conscious. So at the very least, it indicates some kind of self-consciousness. There's also this little bit of a jitter in his left leg. If you look at his left leg, now he does often
he's breaking it
jitter
down
that leg when he's talking, when he's going through something.
Or when he gets nervous.
What he's saying. Also when his foot is up and his flip-flop is resting on his other leg, every now and then it bounces like this.
Nervous.
But here it looks like this little bit of a nervous energy jitter. His speech also slows down a little bit, which is a good sign that he's really thinking about how to properly answer this. But we also see something that has a lot of different words in behavioral analysis.
Or that could be a bad thing.
Statements. Some people put it together with hesitation. I call it fluff. This is all these little unnecessary words before we get to an answer. So he says, well, like I said, and he thinks about it. Me and my friends have been on the water our whole lives. So it takes him a little bit of unimportant stuff to get to an actual answer. This is why.
Anymore, you had to call the Coast Guard.
Well, I mean, like I said, my friends and I have been on the water our whole life. Stuff happens.
Now again, does stress in response to a question mean let's lock him up, 25 to life? Of course not. It just indicates that there's a bit of stress around this. Why did you call the Coast Guard? What was so worrisome that you called the Coast Guard? And he's just saying, I'd rather be safe than sorry. I think there might be a little bit more to that.
Absolutely.
Something in Nolan's behavior. Was there a reason to be concerned more than he's letting on? I'm not sure, but I think that there's a little bit more than just rather be safe than sorry.
I agree.
Presumably there were dozens of people still out on that island
Facts.
that he hadn't heard from that day, right? I mean, if we think about his own testimony, he said numerous times that they often go out and come back and leave some people behind to go on different boats.
I've done
Was
it
he
hundreds
always
of
here with
times.
all those people?
That's what he said.
Because unless that's the case, it wouldn't make sense that not hearing back from Nolan is a red flag that made him call the Coast Guard.
And when was the last time that you saw Nolan? And then when was the last time that someone reported to you that Nolan was seen? If that makes sense.
Yeah, of
you
course.
saw him at a certain point, but then someone else saw him a lot later when you guys were gone.
Right. Okay. So the last time I personally laid eyes on Nolan was at like 3 o'clock.
Watch the butt.
You know, and he was, front of the boat with the girl, and that's the last time I saw him. But
Sitting. But
there,
told you.
I've talked
Look,
to somebody personally that's
look at Officer Tatum, Uncle Officer BTR's facial expression after he says "but." It's like he's waiting. I mean, they teach officers these things, basic fundamentals of when someone's showing signs of deceptions. Okay, so they're trained to pick up on these certain things. So whether he admits it or not, unless he's just genuinely blind and ignorant or acting that way, either way of the two, or number three, so either one of the three things, he's ignorant, or number two, he's not ignorant, he's acting ignorant as if he is oblivious to the discrepancies in his answers and the signs, telltale signs and patterns of false statements. He sees it. He's acting as if he don't. For what reason, I don't know. But I can tell by just the facial expression. Like I told you, I'm not just studying Warren's responses and answers, followed by his facial expressions and body behavior. I'm also observing Mr. Uncle Officer of the Year. And his body and facial expressions is telling me that he's picking up on the discrepancies and the mis or disinformation intentionally. So see if I can go back and catch him. I want y'all to pay attention. Now don't pay attention to Warren.
Right.
Just listen to Warren.
So the last time I personally laid
Watch,
eyes on Nolan
watch
was at
Officer
like 3
BTK,
o'clock, and
BTR.
he was
Watch
front of the
Watch.
boat with
He's
the
like,
girl,
don't say but. Don't say
and
but.
That's the last time I saw him. But
Look, he's like, oh, y'all see that? Look, let me see how to slow that down. I'm gonna run that back. Boy, I tell you, Uncle Officer. Boy, you got it, boy. You got it. You are Uncle Officer of the Year. Hold on, y'all. Here we go, right here. I gotta hit him with it, y'all.
was, front of the boat with the girl.
Look, watch it. Watch his eye. Watch how long he.
That's the last time I saw him. But they're,
Did he do it yet?
I've talked to somebody,
Hit it again.
front of the boat
Watch.
with the girl, and that's the last time I saw him. But
Oh man.
they're,
You seen the way? You seen Uncle Officer?
I've talked to somebody personally.
He closed his eye like, man, he really do know something.
6 o'clock.
He know that, man. He know that shit in there hard.
Someone,
He said,
we
that's
want
my
the
son Nolan.
last people to see
But
them.
ain't no but.
We
Oh, now you were the last person to seen him. Now we're in defense
there was
mode.
still
Now we're in defense
dozens
mode.
on dozens of boats around us, and
That's
I
crazy.
mean, clearly we were not the last people to see Nolan.
So Warren, I'm gonna ask you some very pointed questions. I mean, just straight out.
So now this after they
I didn't
cut
come down here
the.
to, do anything other
Now
but to
he's
get the truth
number one
and for
top
you to have a voice in this.
top dog
And
uncle.
the first thing I want to ask you is, did you kill Nolan?
Of course not.
What kind
Did
of
you have
question?
anything to do
What kind of
with
question is that? Did you kill Nolan?
Absolutely not.
Why would you come
They
straight out and
that you
say,
guys
"Did you kill
deleted
Nolan?"
stuff out of his phone? Did you delete anything out of Nolan's phone?
No, of course not.
The mom act like, or at least she portrayed on
Act
television,
like,
and the
see,
rumors are that
disrespectful.
you weren't really good friends with Nolan.
That
Is
nigga's
true?
it's
Absolutely
true.
not. I hung out with Nolan probably
True.
like 3 days a week.
Absolutely true.
Seriously, at least. Some days, my
But
friends
you
would
left
hang
him on
out
the
every
island.
Sunday, and Nolan was always there. So
Okay, so the tough questions are coming out here, and we start with one that
I couldn't let it. I couldn't
already
hold
asked
back.
before, and that we already got this answer. We're getting it again. Where he asked,
Officer Tatum did when
"When's
I
the
want to hear
last
that
time you saw him?"
but.
And
You
notice
knew
how
when he said
corrects
but.
because he says,
That sealed
"No,
his
you know
fate
when
for
you saw
him.
him," but then you know if someone's seeing him after that. So we could tell from this question that Officer Tatum is trying to help, trying to nudge Warren a little bit here
Yeah,
to say,
trying to
you know,
help.
make sure to mention that somebody saw him after you were gone. Anyways, Warren answers the question the same way that he did previously by saying that the last time he saw Nolan himself was at 3 o'clock. And his hand is up here and he's gesturing, he's illustrating like this. And you'll notice as he says that, two things happen. One is the hand turns palm up like this, and the second one is this slight no gesture with the head. Let's start with this head.
So, once again, I appreciate y'all for tuning in. Be looking forward to my other little, like, overview of the case of the Nolan Well case and everything that's going on and what people are saying. So I'm kind of going to do a little reach out to that. And also, I will be putting out my observation and audio production analyst, what I got out of it. And I'm going to tell you just like Janetta, take of it from what you will, but do not be oblivious to what is facts and what you truly hear. Yeah, your ears are not lying to you, okay? And there is no any kind of altering to this audio that I will be pushing forward after this video at all. It is authentic. Only thing I did was clean up the noise and heighten the gain, which is the volume of the background, and tried to make it clearer. And made it a little bit, I time stretched it just a little bit so we could make sure that we're hearing out the words that they're saying, because when people pronounce things a little bit slower, you understand them better. So be looking forward to that. Once again, it's Shaheen, aka Moolah Gang Entertainment, Moolah Gang Enlightenment. Appreciate y'all, man. All praises be to the Most High.